Crucible is a free-to-play third-person shooter battle royale PvPvE thing, and the first real step into making games by Amazon Studios. Now I know what you're thinking, and I'm sorry to inform you, but no, this is not a video game adaptation of the acclaimed 1953 play by American playwright Arthur Miller, and is instead about a group of hunters working for the Unity organization that go to the planet Crucible and just start killing shit and then each other so they can get essence, which is this blue shit. Amazon Game Studio is also making a game called New World, set to release in August, about going to a newly discovered land to claim the territory as their own, heavily inspired by the discovery of America by Eastern European nations. And I could make the comparison of these two games' themes of colonialization being a striking similarity to the capitalist mindset and unethical business practices of Amazon as a company, in which they abuse the use of both employees and customers, spread animal cruelty and anti-environmentalism, and through the use of limiting market availability fastly encroaching into our lives as a necessity to live. But instead, let's just get into the game review. Crucible kinda sucks. The biggest note to make about the game is how its combat is clunky and unsatisfying. There needs to be a massive overhaul in balancing the game, in both making each character be able to stack up with some of the better ones, and also making each character actually be good to control. When you play Crucible, it just doesn't feel right, and compared to other games like Apex Legends or Valorant, there's not anything that really signifies to the player that what they're doing is right or wrong. You just go in and shoot at things, and sometimes you die and sometimes you kill them. There's nothing that indicates to you emotionally that what you're doing matters. Just kinda, oh, okay, that happened. Some of the time I can't even tell when my hits are landing, and furthermore, the only indication of your health is a bar at the bottom that is so unnoticeable, sometimes you just die without realizing it. Like, at least make the screen go red, guys. Like, come on. Speaking of Apex, let's talk about what you have to do around the map that looks identical to Apex. Basically, you run around killing monsters to get the blue shit I talked about earlier, which I guess gives you upgrades, and there's also things that gives you other upgrades and points you need to capture in order to win the game. Having to kill an assortment of boringly designed monsters is definitely something different and refreshing in a battle royale type game. But in the long run, this feature doesn't add enough to the game to make it a selling point. The game still boils down to being two teams fighting each other. The enemies around the map is just kind of an extra step that gets in the way. Now, there are different game modes, but I'm mostly speaking on general terms, since the game modes basically amount to the same thing. Alright, let's get into the game's characters now. Each hunter has a different playstyle. Dexter Jetster has a big gun, Ape Sapien is a sniper without a scope for some reason, Bug Boy is a small robot with a gun that can shoot in three-pointers, and you can place plants that attack enemies as if you're playing a tower defense game in the middle of D-Day, and it has this voice.
I protect my garden, and it protects me.
Because Amazon wanted to sell their artificial voice software instead of hire an actual voice actor, so it sounds like a Twitch donation is getting right every time it speaks. There's a default straight man with a gun so gamers don't get angry. Summer, who shoots fire. I don't really have a joke for this one. She's alright, I guess. This is Shakira. How many fucking characters are there? Jesus Christ. Tosca, who's a little muskrat that shits and pisses and comes. Shark, he just runs up and hits things. It's pretty simple. This guy was the most boring to play as, honestly. Like, I don't know. And Cezanne, who is terrible to play against because it's impossible to hit her because she fucking runs everyone and fucking teleports and shit. Now, most of these character designs are fairly generic, but at least it seems like some sort of effort was put into giving each one personality. The major issue with them all is that they're just boring to play as, honestly. If you pick any of the slower characters, be prepared to do a lot of tedious walking around the big-ass map. It's nice to see a game with some characters with wildly different attacks and movesets, but it's also hard to balance them all together with the game still being fun. Apex, Valorant, and Overwatch all get past this by each hero's main attack being either the same gun so that everyone is on an equal playing field, or in the case of Overwatch, either ranged or melee with only slight variations that feel meaningful and have trade-offs that don't hinder the player's enjoyment. I didn't play the game to really learn each character and study the balancing, but like, I don't fucking want to. My experience is already fucking terrible enough. Overall, the combat just feels off. It's basically the gameplay equivalent of putting one of those square wood blocks into a circle hole. It's a free game, and even though it's made by fucking Amazon, it still plays and looks like any other free indie shooter you can get off Steam. And in fact, who the fuck even made this game? Who is Amazon Games even formed out of? Looks like a lot of the developers of Crucible are pulled from, Guild Wars 2? No, I never played Guild Wars 2. I know some people that have. They don't seem to have any issues with it, so I don't know what this means on that front, but why do they have additional office dogs? They have two categories of that in their credits. Looks like part of the development was done by Relentless, a studio within Amazon Studios. I've never heard of them before. I don't know what games they've made. Buzz. A lot. That's not a good sign. Looks like they're attributed to making this game. Save Our Souls episode. Oh no. No. Oh no. Save Our Souls episode 1 by Relentless Game Studios? Hello? I have no idea if this is the same Relentless Studios or not, but this is not a. I can sort of see why Save Our Souls episode 2 was never put out. Yeah, I kind of doubt this is the same studios that made Crucible, but it's kind of a bad look when this game comes up in Google searches before Crucible. That's... Oh, the streamer started playing Battletoads instead. That's understandable. What is even going on here? What? There's a lot of potential with Crucible, and by a lot of potential I mean developers are going to have to put a lot of work into making it better. It's a nice idea, and I enjoy when more games try to add story elements and personality to a massively multiplayer shooter. The game feels unpolished and frankly just unfinished. It's like how when the makers of Indivisible forgot to update the time the game went live on the Switch to the new date, so it ended up being published to the eShop a few months too early. The difference is Indivisible is a good game, so no one really cared, and also Amazon just released Crucible like this out of their own free will. They just did it. Crucible feels like a clunky mishmash of other successful games formed into something that's boring and poorly optimized. And there's honestly just no need to play it in its current state compared to what it's stealing from. What I'm trying to say is, instead of playing Crucible, you should read The Crucible by Arthur Miller, which follows the Salem witch trials that took place at the end of the 1600s. It follows a group of women who falsely accuse others of being witches so that they would face prosecution. The story is a demonstration of how mass hysteria can form from baseless claims and suspicion, and was a major allegory for American fears of communism during the Cold War. The Crucible deals with the attempt to maintain a semblance of order, so let's get into an analysis of how the need to maintain a status quo arises to issues of content and imbalance. First of all,